So today, we're going to break down the playbook from Jake Heller, the founder of Casetext. We're talking about how he built an AI app so damn good it sold for $650 million. This isn't just a story, okay? This is a blueprint for anyone out there looking to build a massive company in the age of AI. All right, let's get into it. Just look at that number, $650 million. And get this, it was all cash. That's what Thomson Reuters put on the table for Casetext. A number like that, it doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of a very specific strategy and a relentless focus on what actually works. So you know the advice we're about to unpack is battle-tested. We're going to break this playbook down into 3 critical parts. First up, how do you find an idea that's genuinely valuable? Second, how do you build it so it's reliable? Not just another cool demo that breaks. And third, how do you actually sell that value to customers? All right, let's kick things off with finding the idea. For decades, this was like the hardest part of any startup. But in the AI era, the whole game has changed. It's actually become a lot easier if you know where to look. You've heard the classic startup mantra, right? Make something people want. But how in the world do you figure out what they want? It's simple, really. Look at what they're already paying for. Right now, people are paying other people to do jobs. Customer support, paralegal work, financial analysis. That right there, that's your treasure map. So once you pick a job to go after, your opportunity pretty much falls into one of 3 buckets. You can assist professionals, making them way faster and better, which is what Casetext did for lawyers. You can replace the task entirely, becoming something like an AI-powered accounting service that just does your taxes for you. Or you can do things that were basically unthinkable before, like a drug company having an AI analyze every single research paper ever published on a disease to find new drug targets in just a few hours. And this shift, it creates this absolutely massive change in market size. The old software model was all about selling seats for maybe $20 a month. The new AI model lets you capture the value of the entire job's salary. We're talking $5, $10, even $20,000 a month. The potential market isn't just a little bigger, it's like 1,000 times bigger. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Replacing jobs. That sounds pretty dystopian, doesn't it? But the reality is actually the opposite. First, you unlock a future we can't even imagine yet, just like electricity replaced the job of lamplighters. And second, you democratize access to services that used to be only for the super wealthy. Just take law, for example. Over 85% of low-income folks don't get the legal services they need simply because it's too expensive. Well, what if AI can make lawyers 100 times faster and 10 times cheaper, or even provide the service directly? This isn't about eliminating jobs. It's about making expertise available to everyone. Okay, so you've found your big idea. Now what? How do you actually build it? The key word here, and I mean the most important word, is reliably. This is what separates a viral demo from a company worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The steps I'm about to lay out might sound kind of simple, maybe even obvious. But as Heller says, the craziest shit is nobody's doing it. Very, very few companies are actually putting in this hard work. And that, right there, is your competitive advantage. So here's the process. First, you have to find out what professionals in that field actually do day to day. Don't guess. Become an expert yourself. Second, you model how the absolute best person in the world would do it if they had unlimited time and resources. Third, you break that perfect process down into concrete steps. Fourth, you code each of those steps. Some might be a prompt, others might be a piece of traditional software. And finally, you have to decide, is this a predictable step-by-step workflow, or does it need to be a more complex agent that can make its own decisions along the way? Building that first version is the easy part. The real work, the really hard part, is getting it right. How do you actually know your AI did the research correctly? How do you make sure it's not just 60% accurate, but consistently, reliably correct in the real world? The answer is evaluation, a grind, but a necessary one. First, you have to use your domain expertise to define what good even looks like. Then you create objective, gradable tests. True-false questions, a number from 0 to 7, something you can measure. You might start with a dozen tests, but you need to scale that to 100 or more. And here's the crucial part. Every single time a customer finds a failure, that failure becomes a brand new test in your evaluation suite. This chart here, it just tells the whole story perfectly. That first bar, the cool demo, that's where you start out. Your AI is passing maybe 60% of your tests. And honestly, most people give up right here. After a sleepless night of prompt engineering, maybe, just maybe, you get it to 61%. That second bar, the frustrating grind, is where almost everyone else gives up. But if you just keep grinding for weeks, you can push that accuracy all the way up to 97%. And that's the difference between a toy and a tool. Okay, let's move on to the final crucial piece of the puzzle, selling. You've built something amazing, something reliable. Now you have to convince the world to actually pay for it. There's this common belief out there, especially among investors, that sales and marketing are everything, that the product is secondary. Well, Heller has a pretty strong counterpoint to that. He says, I think it's fucking bullshit. The single most important thing you can do for your marketing and sales is to build a fucking amazing product. A great product sells itself. It generates its own buzz, its own referrals, its own news coverage, all for free. So how do you price this amazing product? Well, don't just default to a $20 a month subscription. You have to price according to the value you create. If you're saving a company the cost of a $1,000 contract review, well, then charging them $500 is a bargain. But you also have to listen to your customers. Casetext actually found that their clients preferred a predictable, higher price per seat over a usage-based model that was hard to budget for. And here's a critical warning for all the AI startups out there right now. Beware of what he calls PRR, or pilot recurring revenue. So many companies are reporting these huge revenue numbers that are really just paid pilots. A lot of these pilots are not going to convert, and if you rely on that money, it can lead to what he calls a mass extinction event for startups. Since AI is new, and frankly, a little scary for many businesses, you have to be proactive about building trust. Offer head-to-head comparisons. Let them use your AI right alongside their current human team and prove your value. Run pilots. And remember, your product isn't just the pixels on the screen. It's the human support, the training, the onboarding. It's the whole shebang. So after all of this, finding the idea, building it reliably, selling it, what is the one thing you should be focused on above everything else? What is the founder's true north? An audience member asked Heller this exact question. From the very beginning all the way to a massive exit, what was the one single unchanging focus? What should it have been? And here it is, the definitive answer. At every single stage, the focus should be to build a great product that gets product market fit. That magical point where you've built something that a specific group of customers truly needs. Everything else, hiring, marketing, sales, company culture, fundraising, they are not goals in themselves. They are all just tools to achieve that one single thing. And the final piece of advice, don't be scared. Yeah, building something truly great is incredibly hard. It's going to require thousands of tiny steps, all these data integrations, and perfectly tuned prompts. But that difficulty, that's the whole point. The process of building it is what creates something that no one else can just come along and copy. That's your defense. That's your moat.